All right, strap in, everyone, because today we're diving deep into how James Clerk Maxwell, how he totally changed the way we understand the universe.
This is going to be fun.
It is, and we've got some amazing source material to work with today.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
We're going to be pulling excerpts from his Wikipedia entry, and let me tell you, it is just packed with fascinating insights.
His Wikipedia entry? Really?
Right? But trust me, this is a gold mine.
Well, okay, I'm intrigued.
You will be, so by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand why Einstein himself said, "I stand on the shoulders of Maxwell."
Wow, okay, so we're talking about a serious scientific heavyweight here.
Oh, absolutely a titan. But, what's interesting is that while we all know names like Einstein and Newton,
Right.
Maxwell, despite being equally revolutionary, isn't quite a household name.
That's true. Not everyone knows about him, but they should. And we're going to fix that.
Yes, we are. So where do we even begin with a genius like this?
Well, let's start with his incredible curiosity, which, seemed to be with him from the very beginning.
Oh, I love where this is going.
There's this great story about him as a 3-year-old constantly asking, what's the go of that? About, everything.
Oh, that's so cute. I mean, it's like his brain was just wired for science.
Right. Totally.
But it wasn't just childlike wonder, was it? I mean, this curiosity led to some pretty impressive early achievements.
No, you're absolutely right. It was way more than just that. This kid published his first scientific paper at 14.
14.
Yeah.
I was, probably trying to figure out what color nail polish to wear when I was 14.
Huh. Well, he was figuring out how to draw complex mathematical curves.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a little different.
Just a bit. And what's even more fascinating? Even at that young age, he was already showing that ability to connect things that seem totally different, like different fields.
And that becomes a hallmark of his later work, right?
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, so help me understand that. The connection between drawing curves and, well, his later groundbreaking work.
So think about it, like drawing curves, it's all about understanding spatial relationships, right? And how to translate those into something visual.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
And that actually laid the foundation for his later work with visualizing and understanding electromagnetic fields, which you can't even see.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
It's pretty amazing, right?
It is, but even geniuses have their, awkward phases.
Oh, for sure.
Didn't he have some trouble fitting in when he was younger?
He did. So just imagine young Maxwell, right? This brilliant mind showing up at the Edinburgh Academy with his homemade clothes and his thick rural accent.
Oh, no.
The other kids called him Dafty.
Ouch, that's rough.
It is. But thankfully, he had friends, people who saw past all that.
Like who?
Like Lewis Campbell and Peter Guthrie Tate. They became lifelong friends.
Wow, so even back then, he was finding his tribe,
He was.
people who really got him.
Exactly, because brilliance, it doesn't always come in a perfectly polished package.
That's true. That's true. And speaking of brilliance, let's talk about Saturn's rings.
Okay, let's do it.
This was a mystery that had astronomers stumped for centuries.
Yeah, how could those rings even be stable?
Right, it didn't make sense.
Nope, and Maxwell, he was in his early 20s when he tackled this problem.
He was a young guy.
He was, and before him, everyone thought the rings had to be solid or fluid.
Right.
But through some serious math, some really rigorous analysis, he proved that both of those theories were just plain wrong.
So how did he solve it then? What was his big idea?
He proposed something totally radical. He said that the rings were made up of countless tiny particles, each one orbiting Saturn on its own.
So like a giant cosmic disco ball.
Kinda. He actually called them brickbats.
Brickbats. Okay, that's charming.
It is, right. And what's amazing is that his theory, which, by the way, was confirmed centuries later by the Voyager spacecraft.
So he was right.
Oh, he was right. It was so revolutionary that George Bedell Airy, the Astronomer Royal, called it one of the most remarkable applications of mathematics to physics that I have ever seen.
Okay, wow, high praise.
The highest praise.
But here's where things get really interesting. Maxwell's work on electromagnetism.
This is the big one.
This is where he really changed the world.
He shifted our entire understanding of the universe. Think about it. Before Maxwell, electricity, magnetism, light, they're all separate mysteries.
Separate puzzles.
Exactly. And then, boom, 1865, he publishes a dynamical theory of the electromagnetic field.
And that changes everything.
Oh, it changes everything.
Okay, break it down for us. What was his big idea?
Basically, he said that electric and magnetic fields, they travel through space as waves.
As waves.
As waves, moving at the speed of light. And get this, he also said that light itself is an electromagnetic phenomenon.
So wait, he's saying that light, electricity, and magnetism are all connected.
Boom. You got it.
That's huge.
It was monumental. It was like he took these separate pieces of the puzzle and he fit them together into this elegant framework.
A unified theory.
Exactly. A paradigm shift in physics. And it wasn't just some beautiful math. It was a profound truth about nature.
Okay, I'm starting to see why Einstein was such a fan.
Oh, yeah. And think about the implications. His equations, they weren't just theoretical.
Right.
They laid the groundwork for, well, everything, like radio waves, Wi-Fi, the light we see, all of it.
It's hard to wrap your head around how much impact he had.
It really is.
Especially when you think about it, all came from, what, like 20 equations?
20 equations that later got simplified into the 4 Maxwell's equations that, physicists use today.
The 4 equations that basically underpin our entire technological world.
That's it in a nutshell.
It's almost poetic.
It is. It really is.
But wait, there's more. Maxwell didn't just stop at electromagnetism. He was like the ultimate multitasker.
He was a true polymath.
So, for example, his work on color vision.
Oh, yeah. That led to the first color photograph in 1861.
No way. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. Color photography. That was him.
Amazing. But hold on. Did he also make contributions to, like, the kinetic theory of gases?
He did. He did.
Okay, can we back up for a second? What is the kinetic theory of gases?
So it's all about figuring out how gas molecules behave, like how fast they move, their energy, how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
And Maxwell and Boltzmann, they developed this statistical model, a way to predict how those speeds and energies are distributed.
That sounds incredibly complicated.
It was groundbreaking, and it totally revolutionized our understanding of thermodynamics.
Wow, so we've got light, electricity, magnetism, color photography, and the behavior of gases.
Yeah, he had his fingers in a lot of pies.
Is there anything this man didn't do?
Well, let's not forget his contributions to control theory.
Okay, now I'm lost. What's control theory?
It's how we regulate systems, from simple machines to these big complex networks.
Oh, yeah.
And his work on governors, those things that maintain a steady state.
Like cruise control in a car.
Exactly. He was the first to, describe their behavior mathematically.
And that had an impact on things like automation and robotics.
You bet.
Seriously, this guy was everywhere.
He pretty much had a hand in shaping the world we live in today.
It's starting to make me feel a little inadequate.
Don't worry, we all feel that way next to Maxwell.
But here's something else that I find really fascinating. He was also deeply religious.
It's true.
And that's not something you always hear about scientists,
It's not, but for him, his faith was really important.
Yeah, it seems like it was a big part of his life.
It was.
So he was this brilliant scientist, but also a man of faith.
That's right. And a devoted husband, too.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. He was very close to his wife, Catherine.
They were.
And apparently he also had a great sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. He was known to be a bit of a prankster.
Really? Like, what kind of pranks?
Well, there's this one story about how he rigged a teapot to whistle at a specific pitch.
Why?
Just to startle his colleagues.
Oh, my gosh, that's hilarious.
Right. It's nice to know that someone who could unlock the secrets of electromagnetism.
Right. Could also appreciate a good practical joke.
It makes him seem more human, not just this unapproachable genius.
Exactly. He was a real person.
So we've covered his scientific achievements, his personal life, his playful side. Is there anything else in his Wikipedia entry that we've missed that you think our listeners should know about?
There is one thing. His role as the first Cavendish Professor of Physics at Cambridge University. Oh, the Cavendish Laboratory. The one is legendary. It is. It's like the holy grail of physics labs.
Exactly. And Maxwell, he was involved in creating it every step of the way.
Designing the building.
Yep. Selecting the equipment, all of it.
Wow. So not only did he make these groundbreaking discoveries,
right,
he also created a space for future generations of scientists to do the same.
He did. His vision shaped the early years of the lab, and that led to countless other amazing discoveries.
It's incredible, the ripple effect of his work.
It really is.
So it wasn't just his own discoveries. It was his students, his vision for the Cavendish Laboratory. His legacy is woven into the fabric of modern physics.
It all comes back to that curiosity, that what's the go of that mentality.
Yeah.
He didn't just want to solve problems. He wanted to understand.
And that inspired generations of scientists.
It did.
Okay, so I have to ask, is there a Maxwell equation for life?
That's a good question.
Like, there's something we can learn from his story, whether we're scientists or not.
I think if there's one big takeaway, it's to embrace your curiosity.
Yeah.
And to approach challenges with that sense of wonder, with that playfulness that Maxwell had.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're trying to solve a complex problem
or
just trying to learn something new. That spirit can lead to amazing insights.
So don't just accept things as they are. Ask what's the go of that.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to be a little bit of a dafty along the way.
I love that.
Embrace what makes you unique. Challenge the way things are. That's how real innovation happens.
It's a good reminder that we all have that potential for discovery, even if it's not on the scale of a Maxwell.
We do, absolutely.
We all have our own brickbats to uncover, our own mysteries to unravel.
And maybe someday someone will be doing a deep dive about your work.
Okay, let's not get at ourselves. But speaking of unraveling mysteries, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, Maxwell's faith.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something we often talk about with scientific achievements, but it was obviously a big part of his life.
It really was, and it wasn't just something private. It shaped his worldview, his approach to science, everything.
So he saw the laws of nature as a reflection of God's design.
Exactly, and for him, studying those laws was a way to understand the mind of the Creator.
So science and religion weren't in conflict for him?
Not at all. They were complementary, two different ways of searching for truth.
Like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, and you see that in his writing, he talks about this harmony between scientific knowledge and religious belief.
So for him, understanding the universe only made his faith stronger.
It did. It deepened his sense of awe and wonder.
That's beautiful. It's a reminder that there are many paths to truth.
There are.
And that science and spirituality, they can coexist, even enrich each other.
I agree, and I think it's an important message, especially in a world that's often divided between the two.
Absolutely. Maxwell's example shows us that it doesn't have to be an either situation.
Right, it can be both hand.
And speaking of inspiration, let's talk about Maxwell's legacy.
Let's do it.
I mean, we've already mentioned Einstein's famous quote about standing on his shoulders.
Right.
But what does that really mean? Like, how did Maxwell specifically influence Einstein's work?
Well, Maxwell's theories about electromagnetism, they literally laid the foundation for Einstein's theory of special relativity.
Wow, so Maxwell's work was a stepping stone to one of the most famous scientific theories of all time.
It was, and it's because Maxwell's equations revealed that the speed of light is constant.
Which was a key part of Einstein's work.
A cornerstone of it, yeah. So Maxwell's insights about the universe, they helped open the door to a whole new way of thinking about space, time, and gravity.
So he wasn't just solving problems.
Right.
He was opening up new possibilities.
Exactly. He was asking new questions, and his work, it didn't just influence Einstein, it's still inspiring physicists and mathematicians today.
Still?
Oh, yeah, in all sorts of fields, like quantum mechanics, astrophysics, string theory, you name it, his fingerprints are everywhere.
It's pretty amazing to think about how far-reaching his impact has been.
It is, and he did all of this in a relatively short life.
Yeah, he died pretty young, didn't he?
He did, only 48.
Wow. Imagine what he could have accomplished if he'd lived longer.
It's almost too much to think about, but it does make you wonder,
Yeah.
if Maxwell's discoveries in the 19th century were so monumental,
Right.
what kind of scientific breakthroughs are waiting for us in the 22nd century?
What kind of mysteries will future deep dives be exploring?
I mean, it's impossible to say for sure, but if you look at where science is going today, you can see areas that are ripe for, like, Maxwell-level disruption.
Like what?
Quantum computing. It's evolving so rapidly, it has the potential to revolutionize everything.
Everything.
I mean, imagine being able to design drugs at the molecular level.
Wow.
Or create materials with properties we can't even dream of yet.
That's incredible.
And then there's artificial intelligence.
Oh, right. AI. Everyone's talking about that.
It is advancing at an incredible pace. Could we see truly intelligent machines in our lifetime?
It's a possibility, isn't it?
It is, and think about what that would mean for society, for our understanding of what it means to be human.
It's both exciting and a little scary, isn't it?
It is, a lot of big questions, and who knows, maybe there's someone out there right now, some dafty, asking, what's the go of that?
I love that.
Who will make the next big discovery, the one that changes everything.
That's the beauty of science, right?
It is.
There's always more to discover, more to understand.
And Maxwell's life, his work, it reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And it can lead to incredible revelations about the universe.
It's pretty humbling.
It is.
And inspiring.
Absolutely. And it brings us back to that Maxwell equation for life, you know?
Yeah.
That curiosity, that a playful approach to problems.
It's something we can all cultivate.
We can. It doesn't matter what you do, what your background is.
We can all be explorers.
Exactly. Always seeking new knowledge, new perspectives.
Who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will be the one to make that next groundbreaking discovery, the one that changes everything.
Maybe so.
That's a great thought to end on. But before we wrap up completely,
Yeah.
I want to go back to Maxwell's Wikipedia entry for a minute.
Okay.
There were a few things about his personal life that we kind of skimmed over.
Uh-huh.
Did anything else stand out to you?
You know what I found charming?
What?
His love of Scottish poetry.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Apparently he could recite entire poems from memory.
Wow.
And he even wrote his own poetry.
The guy who unified electromagnetism wrote poetry.
He did.
That's amazing. Do we know what kind of poetry he wrote?
Well, there's one that's pretty famous called Rigid Body Sings.
Okay.
It's a play on Robert Burns' Comin' Through the Rye, and he used to sing it while playing the guitar.
Oh, I wish we had a recording of that.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
A physics genius serenading us with Scottish poetry.
It would be a hit.
But even without the music,
Right.
it's clear that he was a man of many talents.
He was.
Someone who found beauty and inspiration in both science and art.
It's a reminder that even the most brilliant minds aren't just one-dimensional.
Right.
They have passions, hobbies, and a sense of humor.
Speaking of humor,
Yeah.
we talked about his prankster side earlier.
We did.
Are there any other stories that really show us his personality?
There's one about him racing his friends on the rooftops at Cambridge.
On the rooftop?
Yeah, while they were students.
That's crazy.
He sounds like he was a lot of fun.
I think so too.
Makes you wonder if that sense of adventure, that willingness to push boundaries,
Yeah.
maybe that influenced his scientific thinking as well.
It's a cool thought. So we've got this incredible scientific mind, a deep faith, a playful spirit, a love of poetry.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we've missed?
There is one more thing. His role as a communicator.
Oh, interesting.
He wasn't just brilliant.
Right.
He was also a great writer and speaker.
Okay.
He really wanted to make science accessible to everyone.
He wanted to share it with the world.
Exactly. He believed that scientific knowledge shouldn't be trapped in academia. It should be celebrated by everyone.
That's a really important point, especially today.
You think?
I do. I mean, we live in a world with so much misinformation, so much scientific illiteracy.
It's true.
We need more people like Maxwell, people who can bridge the gap between the scientific community and the rest of us.
Absolutely. He understood that science isn't just about cold, hard facts.
There's more to it than that.
Way more. It's about wonder, curiosity, the thrill of discovery.
And he wanted everyone to feel that excitement.
He did. He wanted people to look at the world with a sense of awe and wonder.
I think that's a legacy that's just as important as any of his scientific discoveries.
I agree. And it's something we should all strive for, you know.
To share that passion for knowledge.
Exactly. Because Maxwell's example reminds us that science isn't just a collection of facts and figures. It's a story, a grand narrative about the universe and our place in it.
And it's a story that deserves to be told.
It does.
Beautifully said. And speaking of stories, I think it's time for us to bring this one to a close.
Oh, already.
I know. But before we do, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay, shoot.
Maxwell showed us that seemingly different things, like electricity, magnetism, and light, can actually be unified.
Right.
Could there be a similar breakthrough waiting for us in the future?
Interesting question.
Like, what about the intersection of quantum mechanics and artificial intelligence?
Whoa.
What hidden unity might we uncover in the 22nd century?
That's a question that will keep scientists busy for a long time.
It will. And who knows, maybe the answer will come from someone unexpected.
Someone who isn't afraid to ask, what's the go of that?
Exactly. Someone who challenges what we think we know.
Maybe that person is listening to us right now.
I love that thought. It's a reminder that the future of science is wide open.
Full of possibilities.
It's exciting to think about all those possibilities.
It is.
And I hope that our deep dive into Maxwell's world has inspired our listeners to ask those big questions.
I hope so too.
And maybe even seek out some answers of their own.
It all starts with curiosity.
It does. Well, I think we've thoroughly explored Maxwell's Wikipedia entry.
I think we have.
And uncovered a wealth of fascinating insights about this scientific giant.
We certainly did, from his groundbreaking discoveries to his personal life, his playful nature, his deep faith. We've seen how his brilliance went far beyond just science.
He's not just a name in a textbook anymore.
Not at all.
He's a real person with passions, struggles, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge.
And that's what I hope our listeners take away from this.
Me too.
That science isn't just a collection of formulas and equations.
Right.
It's a human endeavor, driven by curiosity, imagination, and a desire to understand the universe.
And we can all be part of that in our own way.
We can.
Whether it's asking questions, exploring new ideas, or just marveling at the wonders of the natural world.
Well said.
So, to our listeners,
yeah,
we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking, what's the go that?
Keep that sense of wonder alive.
The same sense of wonder that James Clerk Maxwell embodied so beautifully.
Who knows, you might just be the one to uncover the next big scientific breakthrough.
The one that shapes the 22nd century.
It's out there, waiting to be discovered.
Until then, keep diving deep.
Keep diving. We do. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And, it makes you wonder, if Maxwell's discoveries in the 19th century were so huge,
right,
what kind of breakthroughs are waiting for us in the 22nd century?
I mean, that is the question, isn't it?
It is. What kind of mysteries will future deep dives be exploring?
It's impossible to say for sure, but if we look at the trends in science today, there are definitely areas that are, ripe for a Maxwell-level shakeup.
Okay, I like where this is going. Give me an example.
Quantum computing, it's evolving so fast it could revolutionize everything.
Everything? Come on.
I'm serious. Imagine designing drugs at the molecular level.
Okay, that would be incredible.
It would. Or creating materials with properties we can't even imagine right now.
That's mind-blowing.
And then there's AI, artificial intelligence.
Right. AI, everyone's talking about that.
It's advancing at an unbelievable pace. Could we see truly intelligent machines in our lifetime?
It's possible, isn't it? I mean, it seems like science fiction, but...
It does, but it's a real possibility. And think about the implications.
For society, for what it means to be human.
Exactly. Those are big questions. And who knows, maybe there's a Daphne out there right now, someone asking, what's the go of that?
I love that.
Who will make the next big discovery, the one that changes everything?
The one that rewrites the textbooks.
Maybe that person is listening to us right now.
That's a great thought. It reminds us that the future of science, it's wide open.
It is. It really is. Full of possibilities.
And it's exciting.
It is incredibly exciting.
And it makes you wonder, with all the incredible advancements happening right now,
oh, yeah,
what will be the defining scientific breakthroughs of the 22nd century?
That's a great question, and honestly, who knows?
Right. It's like trying to predict the future.
It is, but that's part of the fun of science, isn't it? Always pushing those boundaries, exploring the unknown.
Absolutely. And I have to say, diving into Maxwell's life and work has been such an inspiring journey.
I agree. He's a true role model, not just for scientists, but for anyone who's curious about the world.
Exactly. And I think what's so remarkable about him is that he wasn't just this brilliant mind.
Right. He was so much more than that.
He had this deep faith, this playful spirit, this love of poetry. He was a complete person.
He was. And I think that's an important lesson for all of us.
What do you mean?
It's easy to get caught up in just one aspect of our lives, our work, our hobbies, whatever.
Right.
But Maxwell shows us that we can be multifaceted, we can embrace all of our passions, and that actually makes us more well-rounded, more creative, more human.
I love that, embracing all the different parts of ourselves.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe that's the key to unlocking even greater discoveries in the future.
The Maxwell equation for life strikes again.
Maybe so. But in all seriousness, I think his story is a powerful reminder that science is a human endeavor.
It's not just about equations and formulas.
No, it's about people, about curiosity, about pushing the limits of what we know.
And it's about that sense of wonder.
That what's the go of that attitude? It's what drives us to explore, to discover, to make sense of the universe.
And that's something we can all share, whether we're scientists or not.
Absolutely. We can all be explorers in our own way, always seeking new knowledge, new experiences, new ways of seeing the world.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
All right, hit me with it.
Maxwell showed us the power of unifying seemingly disparate things, like electricity, magnetism, and light.
Right. He brought them all together.
So what other unifications might be out there, just waiting to be discovered?
That's a good one to ponder.
What hidden connections are we missing? What mysteries will the next generation of Dafties unravel?
Who knows? Maybe the answers are closer than we think.
Maybe they are. And maybe one of our listeners will be the one to find them.
That would be fantastic.
It would. So to everyone listening, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, keep that sense of wonder alive.
The world needs more curious minds, more people who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo.
And who knows, you might just be the next James Clerk Maxwell, waiting to change the world.
It's possible. Anything is possible. And that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah. It is. It really is. So until next time, keep diving deep.